As a college degenerate, I still trying to put my life together, fighting all the procrastinations, distractions, and poor memories, all thanks to TikTok, and I believe most of you guys are as well. So I'm here to sharing with you 3 apps that I'm currently using that supports my life. So I won't be an NPC in my house walking around thinking I'm doing light cardio, checking the fridge, and have no idea what I'm doing in my life. So these 3 apps are Notion Calendar, my calendar apps, and the second one is Notion. Notion is my organizing app. I put everything inside except my notes. And the third one is my to-do app, TickTick. So first of all, the calendar app I'm using is Notion Calendar, and you just do the calendar thing. I'm basically schedule my life based on the calendar app. I used to put what time to go to bed, what time to eat my lunch inside my calendar app, but right now my schedule is a bit empty and a bit loose compared to last year, so I leave a lot of empty space in my calendar. I also put my school classes in my calendar app, so everything is very clear, including the location, the time, the subject, and also how many time I have between each class. I've seen a lot of people will download a separate app just for the school timetable. I've tried that before, but on the second semester, I'm already too lazy to set it up. It's just too much of the work, and oftentimes it does not link to my main calendar. And even if it does, I still don't trust third-party apps that much unless it's pretty popular. So if I have a separate app just for the school timetable, I have to jumping back and forth just to see if anything is overlapping each other, and it's just a total mess. And before you jump right into your favorite calendar app, I strongly recommend you set up your Google Calendar, especially if you run multi-platform like me. Currently, I'm using an iPad and an iPhone, also a MacBook, and behind me is a 32GB RTX 3060 Ti PC. At this point, I need everything synced on the cloud, and the best way to do is using Google Calendar. So the logic behind this is, let's say you set up your Google Calendar, you have a calendar called My Week, and then you go to your calendar app of choice and then sync that app to your Google Calendar account. And this way, every change you make in the app will also appear in the Google Calendar and vice versa. And right now, you can use as many calendar apps as you want. You can switch to any devices as you want, and even operating systems, and everything will stay the same. You can even use different apps at the same time. And if you are fully in the Apple ecosystem, you can use Fantastical. I was on Fantastical before, but unfortunately it does not support Windows, so at the end of the day I have to ditch that and switch to other calendar apps. So currently I'm using Notion Calendar on my PC and my Mac, and both Notion Calendar and Google Calendar on my phone. But you might want to ask why I'm not using Google Calendar. It seems like a solid choice and reasonable choice. Why do I have to use other third-party apps? Well, I really want to use Google Calendar, and to be honest, I think most of people can live with Google Calendar with no problem. And for me, even though Google Calendar is not the worst thing, it's still not the best thing. It's like somewhere in the middle, like average, just a B tier thing. And it's kind of ugly, to be honest. I'm not a fan of those color block and the color of choice. And also, you guys know that I put my school timetable inside my calendar app, and it looks quite disgusting from the monthly view. I think Google needs to do a complete overhaul on the Google Calendar. Also, big complaint here. It's 2024 now and Google still don't have dark mode and desktop version. Just come on, Google. And compare the Notion Calendar with Google Calendar. Google Calendar shows the location of the event with no problem. And right now, Notion Calendar does not show the location of the event, whether it's the desktop version or the mobile version. It's not a deal breaker for me because I put everything as a name of the event, but that is something you might want to know. And also, once again, one of the biggest deal breaker for me, Google still don't have desktop version, and Notion Calendar does have the desktop version. I don't know why it's 2024 now. Please make everything dark mode and make everything a desktop version. I think Google Calendar has one of the worst UI in my opinion. On mobile version, they are fine, but on desktop version, on web browser, after you set up an event, it's really annoying to edit anything. You have to jump to the next page to edit the same thing that it was a pop-up window, and they should just make everything that on the sidebar or a pop-up menu. And on the other hand, Notion Calendar is pretty easy to use and very user-friendly. Everything is on the sidebar and drag things around and adjust everything. But on the mobile version, Notion Calendar lacks the monthly view options. It's fine for me for most of the time, but occasionally if I need that option, I need to use Google Calendar and face those disgusting color block But other than that, Notion Calendar has been a solid option for me. And also the widget from the Notion Calendar looks a lot better compared to Google Calendar. And that is another huge plus for me. And after we talk a lot about Notion Calendar, my next app is still Notion, the OG Notion note-taking app. And Notion for me is like the organizing app, the everything app, but other than taking notes. And right now I still don't know why people are so obsessed with Notion when it comes to note-taking. And I put one of my shopping lists inside my Notion. That is the shopping list for the expensive, non-urgent stuff, something like furniture. I put that inside my Notion. Also, I put my workout notes inside my Notion, and then my idea book. My idea book is just basically all the ideas for this channel, and I will do pretty much everything other than taking notes inside Notion. But by the way, I do write my script inside Notion Calendar because I just grabbed a template from Ali Abdel, and I've been using that ever since then. And also one of the reasons is Google Document does not support dark mode. Just come on, Google. And the reason why I don't use Notion as my main note-taking app, I'm gonna throw a hot take right here. I think Notion is not better at note-taking. It's just average like every other apps. Maybe slightly worse if we're including the mobile app. I'm not saying Notion is bad. I love Notion. It has a lot of great templates and great features for a team to track their projects, to collaborate, to organize their stuff. But note-taking, I think just a bit confusing and overall a mid-choice. I'm not a Notion expert, I'm just your average user, so I might be totally stupid on this take, but when I'm using Notion to take my notes, I don't use 90% of those features. What we do is typing, highlight things, underline things, maybe spreadsheets or toggle lists, maybe bullet lists, and that's pretty much it. And what surprised me the most is Notion has only 3 fonts that I can choose, and one of them is basically useless. Come on, who is able to read on this? And the highlight color is not very easy to differentiate, especially brown, orange, and yellow. And I cannot customize my font size. I know Notion has a lot of cool features, but let's be real here, 99% of those features are not made for note-taking. And also some of the organizing and filtering logic inside Notion is just way too complicated. Like, who has the time and the brain to understand all that logic? And well, I know there's one guy, and I highly recommend his channel if you want any Notion tips or life tips. As an individual non-power user, I think Notion is not a better choice when it comes to note-taking. And also on the mobile version, I think it's really easy to move things around, and I think they need to improve on that. Usually if I need to take my notes during the class, I'll go to either GoodNotes or Apple's Stock Notes app. Depends on the things I want to put in. But at the end of the day, I think note-taking is still down to personal preference. It's totally fine if you love taking notes with Notion. For me, just not the app for note-taking. And the last one is my to-do app. I'm using TickTick. And TickTick is the app that I put in my shopping list and the things I need to do in the future. And this shopping list is for weekly or monthly grocery shopping. Something like protein powder or fruits, something like that. I'm using this kind of to-do app since my high school. To be honest, without this app, I'll probably forget everything or do everything right before the deadline. Also, I'm the type of guy that I will cut my nails inside my to-do app, otherwise I will forget. And before I switched to TickTick, I used to use an app called Todoist during my high school. But I remember they had some major UI change, and I can never understand their logic, so I switched to TickTick. And it's very easy to understand, very clean, very organized. And also the free version is already good enough for 99% of the people. And then I switched to iPhone, so I kind of jumping back and forth between the Apple Reminder and TickTick. It's really hard for me to choose because they all make the to-do app function so well. Also the UI and the integration are all pretty decent on both apps. After iOS 17, you can finally interact with those widgets on your home screen, even though we have those features on Android forever.
Also, widgets are thankfully interactive now. The whole point of a widget, I always thought, was to be able to view and interact with information without jumping into the app, which is trying to suck you in. I'm surprised it took this long, but I am happy to finally see that here.
For me, it's so easy to accidentally check off things while using Apple Reminder. So after iOS 17, I stick to TickTick. And some honorable mention to the apps I tried before. First one is the Microsoft To Do app. I'm not the biggest fan of Microsoft ecosystem because I have to log into everything using my Microsoft account, so I ditched that. Another one is Google Task. I don't really want my task linked to my main calendar, so I ditched that as well. Also, the UI is very boring. So after all, TickTick is my best choice, followed by Apple Reminder. Also, one of the best things that TickTick has that Apple Reminder can never do is they support cross-platform. So my iPhone and my MacBook and my Windows PC can all share the same to-do list, and that is a huge plus for me. Also, I recently finished this episode of podcast by MKBHD. The whole episode is they talking about productivity apps. It's pretty hilarious. You guys should check that out as well.
I'm here trying to figure out if it's a task or an event, and Marquez is connecting to his local government with this.
Marquez hacked into the mayor's office to get the schedule.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it, guys. If you want to check out my other videos, I'm going to put a link right here. And let me know in the comment section down below what's your favorite productivity apps. And I will see you guys in the next video.